Actually, it's not true. Patricia and Gustavo and I, Bill Grossman, have a little party here offline to start a homebuyer seminar. But we do this every week on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Homebuyer seminar. Welcome. Hey, Patricia, how you doing?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. And our good friend Gustavo.
How you guys doing?
And so we get together, we can talk about buying homes with your first-time home buyer, trade-up home buyer. So let's start off with the interest rates. How about those interest rates, Gustavo?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we had a great rate. I mean, great opportunity where the market just reacted very well to new home listing reports, to the Case-Shiller appreciation reports. So basically, to sum it up there, so it was about a good 7 month or so where we were showing declines in home values, but now February was the first month where we actually had appreciation. So it was positive because it looks like we're turning, a point, right? We're pivoting. It seems like there is no crash, right? The line is not going to continue to keep on going down, down, down.
What? The market's not crashing? Are you sure?
Yeah, exactly. And even with the high rates, it's just the market that we're in. So the other part of that was they looked at, I think it was the peak of June of 2022 to now, it was only 2.9% lower now. So yes, it came down, but now it's coming back up, and the difference is only about a 2.9%. So it's pretty much almost flat. So it just goes to show that home ownership is still a great investment. Yes, there's going to be short terms, ups and downs, but whenever we look at that appreciation mark, we're going to see that a house is going to hold its value in 5, 10, 15 years. So part of the reason we're here. And of course, the market reacted very well to that, and rates came down a little bit, and then today we kind of lost a little bit of that. In anticipation, I think we have some reports that are coming out Thursday and Friday as well, with inflation reports on Friday, and then the GDP numbers coming out on Thursday from the first quarter. So a lot of data coming out.
A lot of data, a lot of changes, volatile times. Definitely, I think it's important. You do your research, get prepared, work with a great lender. What you can't afford to do is work with some flaky guy who tells you you're locked in and you find out you're not. So Gustavo's not that guy.
No, and kind of a funny story, but this is really what I do, and you hit right on that. With a couple of the buyers, I was calling them, I was emailing them, I was like, hey, you just gained about $3,000-$4,000 here, like we removed that cost, like let's lock in. I'm texting them, I'm emailing them. One of them got back to me around 8:30 at night yesterday, and they were like, so sorry, I had a tough day at work, and and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, if we don't lock it in now, you may have a tougher day tomorrow, because if it changes, we're going to lose all that. And sure enough, we were able to lock it in yesterday, and with the market changing a little bit today, he was able to save almost $5,000. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's just kind of being, staying in the know, reaching out to those that our risk tolerance is low, and then being able to reach out to them and say, hey, we just got $3,000 removed. Are you okay with me locking now, or do you want to roll the dice and wait to see what happens tomorrow? And I know that I wouldn't be that person either. I would be like, no, let's lock it in, And then Friday, the reports may come out and they may be great, and maybe it goes down a little bit more, but you never know. It could go the other way as well.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's something like you said, Gustavo, you have to keep watching.
Yeah.
We have a buyer we're working on right now, and she was locked in when we were actively looking and making offers, then ended up canceling that escrow because there was some problems that you could not see with the naked eye. So we determined that through the home inspection, and the seller wasn't really willing to work with us on the credit or the repair. So we canceled. So that rate lock essentially expired, and we were still on the hunt. And because right now we're in a low inventory market, we weren't sure exactly when we were going to find a home and get that offer accepted. So we went ahead and let that rate lock just expire. And once we did find a home and we were going to make an offer, I called Gustavo on the weekend and I said, send me an updated loan approval, please, right away. So, he's available on the weekends when sometimes a lot of loan officers check out. Yeah. And we were able to get that deal into escrow. And the slightest change with the interest rates really makes a difference. So
Okay.
sometimes there's, just a few weeks ago, there was no cost with locking in a loan. And last week there was a slight cost there, but it's something that we continue to watch. And as the
Yeah.
market changes, we can still make those adjustments.
Yeah, and it's not a set it and forget it. A lot of times this is what happens on the bigger branches and even on banks, right? Like they're done at 5 and they're like, I'm gone. The market closed. But I still have the capability to lock the rate until 9 p.m. at night. So even
That's
after
pretty
hours, I'm
late.
trying to. Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
Because that way I know that I can reach them after work. I'm like, did you get my text, my emails? You may want to look at them.
Mhm.
And that's really what helps to feel more comfortable through this process. It costs a lot of money to get through this, and to know that you missed out on it. I don't want my clients to go through that, so that's why it doesn't hurt me too much to give them an extra call or a text, or even if it's at night, because if I secure that for them, I know that they're going to be a lot happier going through this process. They're going to be a lot happier with the whole team, So it's important to stay up to date with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when this market, the rates, they change every day. So
Yeah.
the slightest change could really get you over that approval. Like in our case, we were able to increase the approval amount and get locked into this deal. So,
Yeah.
it's a competitive time right now. So you still want to make sure you have your ducks lined up in a row, you have your approval updated, and you've got your down payment lined up as well. So
Mhm.
if you're getting any type of gift money that's coming from a relative or, anything like that, you want to make sure that you have that lined up as well and that those funds are available.
Yeah.
So you do have to provide that bank statement to show that those funds are available.
Yeah. And the all those requirements, and it really comes out when they have that conversation with someone like Patricia, someone like myself, because every situation is different. They'll tell me, oh, I stopped working here, or I had I have a co-bar, or that's not my car payment, that is my daughter's car payment, she pays it. And that's one that I'm doing right now, where it's like, oh, they pay that. I'm like, great, send me the proof. I need the following documents because I can remove that from my calculation. And that's $550 that I can remove out of there. Without them telling me that, I wouldn't be able to know that.
What would be acceptable proof that the underwriter would accept to show that somebody isn't making that car payment, that it doesn't belong to them, that they just lent their credit out?
Yeah. So it's basically 12 months history. So they would like to see not the statement that they're charging $550 for the car payment, but the bank account that is paying, that there's a deduction there of $550 every month for the last 12 months, and that bank account is only the daughter's name. It doesn't have them as a co account owner there or anything like that. That is clearly not theirs. It's somebody else. And then as they go through those statements, they also look at deposits that the dad is not making a deposit into the daughter's account or something like that. So
Right.
that's part of the reason why we always say when we're getting estimates, send us all the pages, 7 pages. A lot of people just give me like the first page is like, here's my balance, and it's like, oh no. It goes deeper than that. They're like, well, you don't need to see that I paid Grubhub or this and that, and it's like, believe me, it is. We need to see that there is no large deposit, that where is it coming from, especially when we're doing this, when we're excluding certain debt. We need to make sure that there's not just a transfer of money going on, and ultimately that's what they're looking for. So 12 months history, nothing shows up under that person, they will go ahead and exclude that from the calculation.
You bring up a point that for somebody who's a little more concerned about security and or privacy, what I do is I try to pay everything. I have a business credit card and I have a personal credit card. I try to pay everything on the credit card, and then the bank statement just has deposit and payment to that credit card. And it's a big number because it's things you might pay out of cash or checks during the month. My gas is on there, my power, they all charge extra. And I get rewards on the card, on a cash card, and the Grubhubs and those kinds of things as well. But I looked at it one time, I said, that's just a better way to secure my checking account. Now the credit card, if you have a bad problem, it's easier to change than it is your checking account. So, because my wife had her checking account compromised a couple of times. So I really urge her, if you can, charge your regular things on a credit card, pay it in full every month, know how much that is in your budget, and pay that every month before it posts, or as it posts, pay it right away. You don't want to carry the interest on it, but it's a nice way to keep your checking account cleaner, because otherwise my checking account one day was like 20 pages. Well, this just doesn't work. So, hey, we got one of our good friends, one of my good friends, Jill Spatty, is a great follower, real estate agent out in, I want to say the Valley. She's Berkshire Hathaway. She says that it seems that the wait for the big crash hasn't pretty beneficial for prices or for rates. So I think she's right in that, a year ago, you had all these internet people saying Valencia, okay, or Santa Margaret, what are we talking about? Santa Clarita. Yeah, I used to call it Valencia, but then my mother moved there, became Santa Clarita, the same spot, I think.
Mhm.
But the point is, a year ago, you had all these YouTubers saying the market's going to crash, the market's going to crash, the market's going to crash. And since that time, rates went from 2.75 to 6%, and prices went up for the most part in Southern California, or stayed flat. They certainly didn't go down much. So did it help to wait for a year in this past year for buyers, you think? Probably not.
I don't think so. I mean, the cost has also risen, and including the rates. So you're paying on the rate, and you're also paying more for the property. And I mean, I know that firsthand because I was showing property in San Bernardino and Riverside 2 years ago. And some of those homes that are, I would say, like-kind homes that are in those neighborhoods are now like $75,000, $100,000 more than they were 2 years ago.
And those people who did make an offer, they're in negotiation and backed out for $10,000, that same house costs $80,000 more, plus a higher interest rate today. And what I always tell people is, you can't guess where the market's going. I don't have a crystal ball. It's not true. I have a crystal ball. It's right there, actually. You see it, crystal ball? It doesn't really do anything. It's kind of funny, though, I think, to have one. That's my sense of humor. But you can't predict the future. But right now, does it make sense for you to buy a house? Right now, can you afford it? Right now, is it good for your family? You're raising kids, or you want to live in a certain community. Does it make sense to move? Can you afford to do that on a regular basis? Don't buy a house just because it's the time somebody told you to buy a house.
Yeah.
Right? Don't buy a house just because California gives you a zero down program. If you can't afford the house, you're in trouble. Yeah. And I think the other one, the federal government is, if you have bad credit, don't worry, they're going to get you in a house. Well, maybe if you don't have good credit, you shouldn't get that extra help. Maybe you should spend some time getting credit fixed up and then buy the house when you have your budget together. So always, I think the best advice always is, don't do what other people tell you to do. Do what's best for you. Review those fundamentals. Review your situation with a great real estate agent like Patricia. Talk to a great lender like Gustavo, and that will help you make the best decision in the long run.
Yeah, that really is. And even when you, as Patricia mentioned, the offers and the changes in prices, I ran a couple of situations where it's like, hey, if we get 5,000 in seller credit or 7,000, we can do the following. But we get into this kind of, still a little bit of a bidding war. We just lost an escrow with someone in San Diego where they were offering 35,000 above their asking price, and they didn't get the home. So, they're still making some very strong offers out there. They had like a 60-day no rent back, they weren't charging them, and they still lost it. So,
what area was this in?
San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. Okay.
Yeah. So there's still a lot of people that are wanting to buy. So the inventory issue, if the rates come down again a little bit more, there's going to be more people going into that, and there's going to be stronger competition. So if you're ready to buy and you have these conversations with someone like Patricia and myself, and it makes sense for you, maybe you can get something that will fit your family lifestyle right now for the next 3-5 years.
While you were talking a little bit, I'll admit I was texting an agent on one of my offers. I have 7 or 8 offers, and he texted me, my buyer wants to offer slightly below listing, but it's all cash offer. And I texted back, said, well, we actually have several over asking that are all cash or waiving contingencies. So, it's still, if the property's priced right, it's still competitive. It's like anything else. every property you can price high or low, and that's what
Yeah.
changes things. But if it's priced right, there's still competition. I
Yeah.
love watching pawn shop reruns because people come in and they're so convinced their item is worth, $10,000, and professionals say, well, retail sell for $2,000. And of course, the guy's going to sell it and resell it, make a profit, and they'll say, well, I still win $10,000. Well, okay, go somewhere else because it's not worth that.
Right.
So, okay, well, look, we started a little late here because we had some planning and some changes going next week. Hopefully, we're going to increase the quality of the video for those you watch. See, Jill says, with a price drop at average 2%, barely price adjustment on a listing. Exactly. 2% price drop, maybe. And Jill, 2% price drop is where you are. There's no 2% price drops in West Los Angeles. Prices are probably pretty much flat overall, I think. And certainly in the lower price market in the South LA and the East LA, at least that I'm seeing, those houses haven't dropped in price. Maybe they're not rising and they're not as competitive overbidding, but I don't see really price drops so much.
Right.
Patricia, what do you see in
No,
Downey, the Beverly Hills, the 562? What do you see in your area?
No, and actually, I mean, I agree with you. We're not seeing offers coming in below asking. We're seeing multiple offers, and on one of my listings, I even had the appraisal contingency waived along with the offer, which came in definitely over asking. So it's just the demand driving up the price and the combination of the low inventory as well.
I will say, I think the opportunity for us as agents, I'm experienced with non-traditional financing. This is a historic opportunity. If you're a seller, I was talking to one last week who bought a house, has a lot of equity, maybe you bought it 10 years ago, and you refinance at 2.75. These people had a house that's worth 1.2 million, and they owe about 600,000 on it at 2.75. And well, if we buy a new house, we're going to have to pay, 6%, 6.5%. I said, well, yes, but you could sell your house, and I can show how to wrap the mortgage where the buyer is buying their house, paying them 6.5%. They pay the 2.5, 2.75 of pocket that profit will help them afford the next house. In essence, moving that price differential. It's complicated. There's some tricks to that. But if you can do that, you in essence are moving that low rate mortgage from your old house to your new house if you get it done properly. And so this is a market where you and I talk to a professional agent who knows what they're doing, and a lender and a sales agent as well who know what they're doing. So we're here to help if we can. We'll do this every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. Monday. What did I say? Monday? Yeah. Wednesday. Gosh, the week's gone so fast. Is it Wednesday already? Really? It's hump day already?
It is.
I remember at work, I used to think, hump day, I'm about halfway through the week. Nowadays, like, if you told me it was Friday, I'd believe you at this point. I don't know. I said Monday, out of repeating what I say on another call, but Wednesday is 5 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern. We live stream it on Facebook, YouTube. Thanks, Jill, for jumping in and participating. We always love to have you. Final words, Patricia, before we sign off?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I'm seeing homes that they're on the market, they're priced very aggressively, meaning very low. And so, of course, that's bringing in a lot of buyer interest. But look out for some of those properties that have, where you have to submit your offer on an online platform. That's basically the bidding platform. So you can see what all the activity is. So the agents will have access to that as well. But if you see a home that's priced really, really low, there's a reason for that. So just be wary. Don't think you're, getting a great deal here, because that's what every other buyer is thinking as well. So you just want to make sure you do your research on those homes. And I'm not saying you can't get a good deal, but usually they're priced lower in order to go high. So just keep an eye out for those. Make sure that, if you need extra or additional information, feel free to give me a call and I can go ahead and verify that for you.
Outstanding. And Gustavo, any final words for people watching today?
Yeah, along the same lines, you'll see after advertised rates that are, 4.9% or something like that, they don't show you disclaimers. They don't show you points. They could be charging you 2-3 points. So definitely take a look at that and be a smart consumer, ask questions, and also give someone like myself a call, mortgage broker that can help them out and be able to take a look at wholesale rates.
Fantastic. And as always, I'm good. If we want to reach you, Patricia, how do we reach you?
So I can be reached at 323-365-9909.
Outstanding. Gustavo, how do they reach you?
714-334-4563.
He's smiling because he's down in the OC. So live in the OC, you're living the good life. I'm Bill Grouse, as always, at Bill Grouse EXP. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Bye, Renee.
Bye-bye.